I've been making soap for about 5 years, and it seemed inevitable that there should be a series of BTS in the soap. This is a tribute to Cooky's eyebrow, possibly the most dangerous brow in the known universe. I made 4 batches in total to get it right. I may do a video of that learning process at some point. This is part 4. Here is my recipe. I use beeswax at 5% to provide more hardness to the bar, and so I soap at around 55 degrees Celsius to keep the batter fluid and prevent false trace. The eyebrow is around 20% of the design. The lye concentration is 33%, or 1 part sodium hydroxide to 2 parts water, and the superfat is 5%. It's scented with a blend of 4 essential oils at 3% of the total oil weight. Always run your recipe through a soap calculator. This soap was a multi-day process, starting with infusing 3 tablespoons or 20 grams of indigo powder in 300 grams of olive oil. I'm indebted to Holly of Holly Soapmaking for this wonderful method of using indigo powder to create pink soap. This was infused in a hot water bath at 70 degrees Celsius for about 4 hours, allowed to cool, and because of lessons learned in part 3, I then filtered it through a paper towel, removing the indigo powder and leaving the oil a beautiful deep magenta violet. This took 3 days. The next step was creating the eyebrow embed. I use a stainless steel bowl over a saucepan as a double boiler to heat the oils. I add the activated charcoal with the wax and it disperses as everything melts. Please remember lye safety. Wear goggles, gloves, long clothes, closed-toe shoes. Work in a well-ventilated space away from children or pets. Always add your sodium hydroxide to the water, not the other way around, and keep stirring to prevent a lump from forming on the bottom. The solution will heat up and may give off fumes. Using chilled water from the fridge or half water, half ice helps to reduce the fumes. I transferred the oils to a jug for ease of pouring, making sure the oils and lye are both around 55 degrees Celsius, and sieved the lye into the oils just in case there were any undissolved lye crystals. Because of lessons learnt in part 1, I used a milk frother instead of a stick mixer to blend the oils and lye into a thin emulsion, checking with a spatula to make sure that it's a stable emulsion and doesn't separate out again into its oil and water components. I realise it looks a little grainy on the screen, but those are little air bubbles. To create the triangular eyebrow, I tilted the mould using a piece of wood to hold it at an angle, poured in the soap batter, and spritzed it with isopropyl alcohol to protect it from forming soda ash. I then used the C-pot method, the cold process oven process, which is to bring the oven up to 60 degrees, put the soap in, turn the oven off and leave it overnight. This helps the soap to completely go through the gel phase. It's not necessary for the soap to go through gel phase, but it does tend to make the colours more intense. Because of lessons learnt in part 2, I left the soap in the mould for 2 days to firm up before unmoulding. The same day of unmoulding the eyebrow, I made the background. If you leave an embed too long, it loses water and becomes harder to cut. The essential oil blend is from eocalc.com, a wonderful online resource, and it's important to check your blend for safe usage rates. I'm adding the pink clay to the essential oils, as clay seems to help the scent hold better. I'm starting again for the background with the double boiler, adding the hardest ingredients first, then once they've melted, adding the liquid oils. So the order is beeswax, coconut oil, shea butter, castor oil, and then the olive oil. I love the colour of this infused oil, it's really pretty. Again, please be safe when handling lye. If it gets onto your skin, it can cause chemical burns, but you're safe enough as long as you follow safe lye handling practice. The oils in the lye have to be weighed very accurately because any unreacted lye in the soap can harm your skin. The water can be anywhere from 1 times the weight of the lye to 3 times the weight of the lye, depending on what is most useful for your design. While the lye solution is initially opaque and white, it goes colourless and clear once the sodium hydroxide is completely dissolved. I generally use stainless steel utensils because I'm trying to avoid plastics where possible, but these long-nosed jugs are really helpful in accurate placement of the batter. I put a mat underneath the jug to prevent the oils cooling too fast. Once again, I'm checking to see that the batter is completely emulsified. There's a really nice gloss there and the oils and the water are not separating. Beeswax speeds up the trace, so this milk frother is much better at keeping the batter fluid. If I were using my stick blender, it would be almost solid by now. I tilted the mould to create the angle for the eyebrow and poured in about half the batter and waited for it to set. I kept the remaining batter fluid by hand stirring it now and then. Once the first layer set, I carefully placed the eyebrow on top and pressed it down gently to remove any air bubbles. And then I poured the remaining pink batter over top. I spritzed it with isopropyl alcohol and cold process oven processed. Two days later, I unmolded the soap. I marked the bars at 2 centimeter intervals and cut them. I then beveled off the sharp edges on the long corners with a vegetable peeler. It just makes it more pleasant for the first time you use it. Now the bars need to be stored in a cool, dry place for at least 4 weeks to dry out before use. Here it is, the final bar. I'm calling it Cooky's Danger Brow. There will be more BTS themed soaps coming, so if you enjoyed this, please like, comment and subscribe. Please stay well, and bye for now.